I wanted to make this video in French because I came up with this idea or this realization while studying French. And it's basically how I go about this series of videos. Like if I'm having a new idea while I'm studying a new language, I tend to do this sort of videos in that language. But today I decided to make an exception just because I feel like it's current to events going on in the world right now, and just because I thought it was really interesting. Not that I think that everything that I share in another language, it's not interesting, it's just not maybe as relevant as this idea I think is. So first of all, I want to start off by disagreeing with something, because I see that there is a lot of people that have great aversion towards language certificates, which, by the way, if you don't know what language certificates are, it's just basically here in Europe we have a European framework where you can see in what level you are depending on the skills that you can display in a specific language, and it goes from A1, which is like the lowest level where you can't really express yourself, you're just building up the vocabulary and you're getting familiarized with the language, up until the C2, which in my opinion is having a great knowledge of the culture, the machinations of the language, and just being able to manipulate the language as best as you can to deliver your message with as much detail. Or that's the way I think about C2, honestly. So anyways, that being said, I hear a lot of people saying that it's useless. Language certificates are useless, and it's just a statement that I cannot agree with, and I'll tell you why. First of all, when it comes to career opportunities, if you want to apply for a job or apply for certain scholarships, and you say that you have a C1 in English, a C1 in French, how are you going to validate that if not with a certificate? But I don't want to disregard their point of view, because I think like when they're talking about language certificates being useless, it's more like I don't need a certificate in order for me to have dexterity in that language. And I totally agree with that. You don't need any type of paper to validate your knowledge in a specific language. But that being said, for me, I really like to have a reality check. Because a lot of the times I hear people saying, no, I think I'm a B2, I'm a C1. Whereas when I hear them speak and I speak to them, it looks like they're farther down the road. And I don't mean this in a condescending way. I really like my thoughts to be in accordance with reality as much as possible. And I feel like doing the certificates and seeing my marks and seeing if I pass or I don't pass, it's a perfect marker for that. It's the way I take it. Some people don't think this way, and that's fine. But then to add a bit of ammunition to this argument, I also have to say that language certificates have taught me different things that don't only revolve around the language in it of itself. So for example, the other day, I was having this language exchange with my French partner, Nono. If you're listening to this, shout out to Nono. And in my French exchanges right now, I told my partner to be very picky and to tell me every single detail that's missing from my articulation or from my understanding of the language. And I told her if it's pronunciation, conjugation, word ordering, whatever it is, please let me know. And then, we finished the class and I'm just there talking about a scientific article that I read about the Zips law in whale songs. And I'm having such a difficult time to just like organize my thoughts and to deliver what I'm trying to deliver. And even though I read the article like 3 times almost, I was like, I swear I understand it, but I cannot really express it the way I want to express. And that's part of like becoming better at a language, and becoming better at understanding things. If you can't really explain it, I don't think you really understand it. And then we finish, she gives me a little bit of feedback on my pronunciation, certain words that I said weirdly. But then she finishes with, I don't think your problem is so much about the language. I think your problem is more about coherence and ideas. Because it was kind of hard for her to follow what I was saying, just because I wasn't having like a certain flow and a certain fluency. And that's when it hit me. It's so interesting how I can be so focused on the linguistic aspect of what I'm trying to say that I completely get lost in the message. Like I don't even know at a certain point what it is that I'm trying to express, just because I'm putting so much effort in how I express it. And you know, I think that's why language certificates are a great opportunity to like push yourself, because if it wasn't for the pressure that I have with a deadline, and well, honestly, it's not so cheap for a student pocket. Like, these certificates cost money, and there also is like the fear of failure, and like, what if I fail? I'm scared of failing. So, you know, I like to put this sort of self-induced pressure on me because it helps me exceed. You know, if it wasn't for this exam or this deadline, I wouldn't be doing so much for my French to improve. I would be more chill, which is fine. You can take a language like that, like just a hobby, just chilling, just, I don't want to feel pressure by this. I want to actually disconnect with this hobby. Sometimes I use language learning in a therapeutic way as well. Sometimes I'm just like, I want to go all in, and again, I think it opens interesting career opportunities. So that's also why I'm on the look for this certificate. But anyways, I thought it was an interesting idea how sometimes you can get so lost in trying to get it perfectly while completely losing the idea, which is supposed to be the main aim of a language, right? I have a thought, I'm expressing it through words, and this language is a tool for me to communicate what is in my brain. And instead, I'm just there like all confused about how to use passé composé and how to like do this and that and use the best vocabulary ever, that I forget the idea that I'm talking about, or how to have an ordering. And I think these are some silent skills that as language learners, we're not so aware of, or at least I wasn't. I wasn't so aware of how much ordering I actually have to go through. Like, I wasn't so conscious about it, but you know, it's like, okay, the first idea, how do I introduce this idea? What kind of context does she need to understand for this article to make sense in her mind? How do I do this in a language that's not mine? How do I phrase this? And it's a convoluted process when you sit down and think about it. But another reason why I wanted to share this is because I feel like maybe it's my feed, like I'm probably algorithmically biased right now, but you know, I feel like the political ambience everywhere is a little heightened. And what I've been seeing a lot is that people are getting better and better at communicating, which at first it's a good thing, right? Like, if you have an idea that you stand by, you should do as best as you possibly can to present it in the best way possible. But I've been finding myself just enthralled by beautiful semantics that have just really bad ideas behind them. I feel like people sometimes linguistically embellish their ideas, and it's so captivating, or especially, maybe it's just me that I'm so captivated by beautiful words and just people that are so eloquent that I'm just like, I'm captivated. This person must be really know what they're talking about. Most of them do, some of them don't, and even if they do it in a very, not in a very empathetic way, let's say. All this to say that thanks to preparing for my language certificate exams and realizing this, I'm becoming a little bit more aware about the discourses that I'm engaging in, or just hearing about, or just seeing online. I'm also trying to protect myself a little bit. Like, I think having too much information is just overwhelming yourself unnecessarily. But I think that now that I have this more kind of slow approach of like, okay, let's water it down and go to the essentials, because that's what I'm doing with my French practice. This is a whole article that I just read. What did I just read about? And it's so hard to put like 3 words together about the things that I just read. Even though I read it 3 times and I feel like I have a sense of understanding, I cannot, again, it's a very active effort. It's a muscle you have to train. And it's been interesting to kind of play with this. And now I look at political discourses like this of like, oh, okay, like I can be surprised and I can be, you know, having a pleasant experience with the verbal dexterity that someone is displaying, but at the same time, I'm also, you know, in the back of my mind, like, okay, what is this person actually trying to tell me? You know, because words manipulate thoughts, and I honestly believe that bad ideas, well entertained, can potentially be the downfall of a society, and we don't want that. And not to make this video more political, well, it's not political, but I've also been realizing how wrongly I've been thinking about being smart or being, because for the longest time I've just thought to myself like, wow, these people are using some sort of vocabulary that I'm never going to be able to ever express myself in this way. And, you know, they must be really smart. And I'm not doubting about their, you know, IQ or whatever. But it's just, it doesn't always mean, for me, like, I'm kind of creating a new concept of what it is to be smart in my mind. And it's way more than language. It's way more, it waters down to ideas, empathy, emotional intelligence, compassion. Like, I know I'm talking about this as if I was some like Zen guru or whatever, but it's honestly like, it sometimes bothers me, the lack of empathy I see on both sides, honestly, left, right, whatever. It's just like pure anger. You want to get angry, just go to social media, watch anything that's political, and there you go. So yeah, I don't know what I was going with this, but I guess just that, like, be more attentive to the ideas behind the language, because the language is a way to permeate your thoughts. And that can be pleasant, but it can be dangerous as well. So, you know, thank you, French, for discovering a new ability that I have to work on. So yeah, I hope this helps you somehow. I hope you can help someone, and I will see you in the next one.